Welcome to the 5-Year You podcast, a show dedicated to helping you become the best version of yourself one day at a time. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Kat, and we promise to keep it raw, real, and relatable.
Are you ready to grow? High five, tribe. Do you find yourself lacking joy in the daily? Well, we do too sometimes. And what we're doing today is all about how to find joy in the ordinary. It's something we've both been practicing a lot lately, and we're really excited for it. How are you doing today, Kat?
Pretty well. How's it going for you?
I'm doing good. I started the day off a little rough, and then I did some of these things, and it really just shifted my mood. And I think that can be attributed to a lot of things of just being able to embrace the fact that joy is all around us. It's really the filter that we're choosing to see our lives through that needs to be shifted.
Yeah, all of our social media content lately has been really focused on two topics. One is finding joy, and one is finding calm. And so if you are on social media, you can find us on Instagram and TikTok at 5YearU with 5 spelled out. And I love this topic because ever since we started making this a focus, the joy and the calm, I find that I'm a lot more present with it. I used some of our calming techniques last night during a really busy kid night. And then this morning, I used a lot of our joy techniques. And it's just like anything, what you focus on grows. And I find that when I'm thinking and looking for like the little joys and the good things, like it sets the tone for the whole day.
I completely agree. I think there in life, we can get sucked into the comparison trap or the it's not where I want it to be trap. And when that happens, it's really hard to get back to that joy state if you haven't practiced it. So I really want to drive home before we go into this episode that this is a muscle. Like any other muscle, it's going to need some work. The first time you go to the gym and you try to do a pull up, you are amazed that, if your feet get off the ground. But as time goes on, you get your first pull up and then you get stronger and stronger as you go. And I think that's a really important thing to make the distinction because if your joy meter, which is, goes from 0 to 100 is at a negative 50, we're going to work on getting you to 0 and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then eventually you're going to be in a really high number, feeling a lot better all the time. So just give yourself permission as you go into this episode to feel yourself through it and see what fits and go with it.
And I really like that we chose finding joy in the ordinary as the focus of this episode, because let's face it, it's super easy to find joy when you're on a really nice vacation. It's super easy to find joy on a Sunday when you don't have to go to work and you get to have a nap, right? So
Yes.
there's all these moments where the joy is obvious. And what we're suggesting and encouraging you, dear listener, to do is to find joy in the little tiny moments throughout your everyday normal life, because that can compound and make you have better days, which is something, let's face it, we all need right now.
Nobody's going to say, I don't want better days, right?
Yeah.
And with that comes our first step as always, which is awareness. We just want you to be aware of, maybe I want more joy in my life, or maybe I forgot that I could have joy in my life, depending on where you're at. And awareness is such a key thing on this because the next step for this is going to be reframing the everyday. And what we want you to do is just to start looking around and reframing things. And I think the biggest one for me has always been I have to with I get to. And let me give you an example. As everybody knows, I've got 50-50 time with my kids. And when my son comes over, I get to make him breakfast. And I'm using this on purpose. I get to make him breakfast because for the longest time I had to make him breakfast every morning because, little kids and stuff like that. And more recently, he's turning 16 right away. I'm aware that this is a get to, and I'm finding joy in it and in the preparing of it and everything. Whereas for the longest time, it was a had to. And I could have reframed it earlier on in my life, but it's only when you kind of know that something is going away or you lose it temporarily and it comes back that you realize how many things you truly get to do in a day. You get to go have coffee in the morning. That is a luxury that you can find joy in every day. And that was, I think, my the first thing that I'm like, oh, I need my coffee too. I'm like, I get to have coffee today. And same cup of coffee every time. You'll see me drinking it right now, but it's a very different mindset.
Yeah, and you've always been really good at cultivating these moments of being present. And before I met you, I never knew anyone who did this, and it's been such a great lesson for me. I remember right when we first started working together years ago, years and years and years ago, you saved a, like, flavored coffee for your 3rd coffee of the day. So you do, like, your normal, like, whatever, cheaper coffee, Keurigs, whatever, but your, like, last coffee of the day, you savored it. It was like your special coffee, and that was part of your process of basically inventing something to feel joy about. And here I am just, like, chugging my 3 cups of coffee and discussing should we have a 4th, and I wasn't present, I wasn't whatever, I'm like, "Necessary, mom of twins, give the caffeine." But it was a really good lesson for me that there can be so much joy in the ordinary, and you can create these little rituals. You can create these things to look forward to, and that's a lot of what joy and happiness is sometimes not even the moments itself, but the anticipation of it, and you can create that.
Yeah, exactly. It's that routine is really good. I totally forgot about the flavor coffee thing. And I'm like,
Mm.
oh yeah, chocolate raspberry was my first flavor coffee in like the K cup pods way back when that I discovered. Man, I kept that
Still
company
hits,
in
huh?
business. It still hits. So yeah, I think that's really part of it. It's just like, how can you rename something to be a more joyful experience? You know, like is it the morning coffee? Is it the saying goodbye to your kids in the morning? Is it the commute? There are so many moments that we have just taken for granted because this has been a big thing for both of us. For me, once lost the use of my arm for several months, basically, I had a whole bunch of new reasons to feel grateful about a lot of things. And it's just, I walk around now and when I feel down or I feel like, oh, the world is blah, 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 because we all feel that way. I will purposely think of something that if I was to take it away, how impacted I would be. And that's my kind of hack to gratitude. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful for my car. I'm so grateful that I have the ability to drive right now. I'm so grateful I have the ability to scratch my right ear with my right arm. Like there's got a lot to be grateful for. We just take it for granted. So renaming things can be a really, really positive first step.
Yeah, and identifying the things that take away your joy. And you mentioned this in the very beginning of this episode that we compare ourselves a lot. So we talk about social media a lot on this show, and it's so easy to get dissatisfied with what you have. It's so easy to go into your bathroom and be like, "Oh my god, I cannot wait to like bust up this old tile or whatever it is," right? So finding some things that delight you, finding some things that bring you joy. You know, I'm looking at my 3 windows right now in my living room slash office, and every single day, the little crystals in my window bring me joy. They make rainbows all over the walls. It's just this little joyful, happy, sparkly thing. And I just happen to really like sparkly, happy things, right? But they didn't cost a lot, you know? I mean, we're talking about like less than $10 on Amazon. And thinking of different ways that you can add joy to your space that you already have, to your life that you already have, is a really, really simple thing you can do. And it doesn't have to cost a lot. You do not have to take a tropical vacation with all you can eat lobster to feel joy. The joy is right around you and it can be built into the ordinary.
Yeah, that's such a good point. It is all around us. And I think when we can reframe the everyday, it's a very, very potent mixture for us to just feel better so much more often. And of course, as you practice this, it's going to compound. So what we want you to do is really start practicing. For me, one of the things that I've really loved is having a plant. Like I grow, my own herbs in one of those arrow gardens. And it's so delightful because they grow so fast. So it's just a delightful thing to kind of look and like, oh, this thing's growing. And it's a reminder, to me that it reminds me that I'm also growing. And, I might not notice it from day to day, but then once in a while you go and it's like, wow, it's happened. So find those little things inside your house or in your daily routine that you can rename and find allow yourself to experience joy with it. I think that's a big part too, is just to allow yourself to experience the joy. I think a lot of us are very focused on, I will feel this later.
When. Yeah.
When I have the job, the money, the career, the family, the car, whatever it is, then I will feel happy. That's a falsehood. The pursuit of that is going to make you feel happy, not the actual attainment of it. And I think there's so many examples of this. I'm reading The Dose Effect right now, and it's by TJ Power. Great book so far. They talk about dose stands for dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. And I just finished the dopamine section. And it talks about how a lot of our cheap dopamine, as he labels it, is like social media. Like there's six ones, like online shopping, alcohol and drugs, stuff like that, is gives us a really big dopamine spike, but then it makes us feel really, really bad right afterwards. So if you scroll social media and don't feel like doing anything, your brain actually is compensating for the quick dopamine spike. But when you can do things that have a longer, kind of more satisfactory growth, a longer dopamine hit where it's not like as easy as getting in like a snap of a finger, or turning on your phone, like watching a plant grow, like watching your child eat food, preparing the food, and like making that whole thing like an experience. These are the things that reframe your dopamine, and it actually helps you experience happiness more prolonged and more accessible than the cheap ways that we do it, as he puts in the book. So I just kind of wanted to say that, because I think a lot of us are like, I don't know, because I was the same way too. I didn't know why I felt this way, and then I realized a lot of it was the phone and the social media and the scrolling, and the lack of presence in my own life. That presence really has been the thing that's brought the joy out.
I love that. And I mean, presence, being present is freedom, being present is the new wealth, being present is everything, because being present, especially being present with your loved ones, is so challenging to achieve now. To me, being able to be someone that can like zone in and be present and focus on the conversation you're having with your spouse, your child, your parents, whatever it is, giving someone your focus in today's world is the biggest gift you can give them, because everything is fighting for our attention and focus. There's blinking lights, and now there is a video ad when you pump gas. I mean, everything is fighting for your attention. And if you can get present enough and find joy in having a real conversation, having a real look in the eyes at somebody and talk about something, that is the rare thing in our world right now. And I have these kiddos asking for a phone every other day because middle school. And, of course, we're apparently the only parents in the middle school that haven't given them a phone, which is not true, but it sure does feel like it. And Andrew and I keep telling them that there's really no good reason for us to do that. It's like really no
No,
good or compelling reason for us to do that, because we know from the work that we do and everything that we read that we are handing them something that's going to make them feel worse. And this is the only time in their life that they get this childhood. And I feel like the second we hand the twins phones, it's going to be over. And that's just my belief of it in this moment. They are really wearing us down every day. But finding the joy in the everyday and trying to teach the kids good habits before they grow up and get the phones and get all of the things and get the ads and are regularly online and not just on their school Chromebooks, right, doing schoolwork, is a really good habit that we're trying to develop in ourselves and in them.
it's a vital thing to develop, especially at that age. Their brains are forming, and I think the longer you delay that kind of phone device or anything like that is better for our brains. And from what I'm hearing in this book and others, it's like the science is backing it up. Our brains aren't equipped to handle like the shortening of our attention span, which is really what's been going on with shorts and TikTok and all these other things. It's just we need to lengthen our attention span and rekindle joy in the everyday. And I think that's something that you and I have done really well with each other. I'm just going to compliment us because it's our show and we can. And
Let's make this about how great we are
yeah,
right now.
but
Please
seriously,
do
like
tell me how great we are. Go on.
we typically when we're together because we only get our we live in different countries, so when we get together we very rarely will bring out our phones. And even when we're like, do you want to scroll Instagram, we do it together rather than like,
Mhm.
each of us sitting on a different phone and like kind of isolate being in that isolated self. So I think we do a very good job of just trying to be present because it is limited for us in this moment, and that makes it a lot more potent for us.
I like that. And I like that we use social media as a tool to spread the word and to share our work and to share clips from this podcast. And that's something we work on together as well. And I really like that. Again, I'll just say it again because it's worthy of repeating that being present with somebody that you love is an enormous gift in today's world. We are often talking about the societal checklist and how the world makes you feel like in order to be happy, in order to feel joy, you must have the Pinterest worthy kitchen. You must have the 2.5 kids and the picket fence and all of this stuff. You must have really nice, expensive clothes, or the opposite. You must buy everything in an influencer's Amazon haul that they shared because it's cheap. And so placing the focus on sustainability, things that are long lasting, things that really matter, because to me, the biggest joy I feel is the joy in being present and the joy in security. And we have a really challenging problem in North America of debt and people struggling and people not having enough savings. And all of that is because of these dopamine hits, because of these clothing hauls, because of all the ads and the ads at the gas station. And this is like my soapbox that I'll stand on forever because it's taking people's time away from them. It's taking time away from true joy and the feeling of taking, a free walk through, like a nature preserve with your kids. And there's just so many things that bring a lot more happiness, except, you're talking about having a dopamine hit and then there's all this regret in the credit card bill afterwards.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Um, I think the next thing we should probably do is just I want to share some like kind of fast things that people can do to start finding joy in their days. And we don't have the ads on the screens yet up in Canada. I've seen them in the States when we go places, but you've
Oh,
mentioned
at
it
the gas
several times.
station? Because
Yeah, it's like
it blows my mind,
it does.
like.
I'm like this is like, out of some sort of futuristic movie. This is weird.
Well, I will say, Andrew, as a highly sensitive person, I'm very sensitive to like sounds and I get overstimulated very easily. And so it's very noticeable to me because it's like this quiet activity of just pumping your gas and no radio, no just kind of sitting outside your car for a second has been taken from me. So,
I understand that. I
yeah.
understand. So the first micro habit you can do for noticing joy is a one sensory check-in. So you just pick something that either you feel, you smell, you see, and you just notice one pleasant detail about it. That's it. For me, it's smelling my coffee. That's like my first one in the morning where I'm like, oh, I just love that savory smell of it. Sometimes, if there's like a soft blanket, just taking that moment to just kind of get back into your body and go, oh, right, I'm not in my head. I can feel this, I can feel this blanket. I can feel my partner's hand as we're going for a walk. Just getting into your body and just taking that moment to accept where you are, be grateful for it, and find the joy in it.
One of my favorite smells in the world is Andrew's aftershave, and it's because he only shaves like every couple days, so it's like this intermittent joy if we're talking about senses, and I'm like, "It's a shaving day. Oh my gosh, let me see your face." It's like I love that smell.
The
It's a good
next
one.
one is thank you. I like that. I like that. The next one's the tiny threshold ritual. And I like this one. I've heard it used in different ways, but it's every time you pass through a door, you just do a
Yeah.
reset. I think it was Lewis Hose. I've always mispronounced his last
House.
name.
Yeah.
Howes. He said like when he was, 10 years ago, every time he'd walk into a room, he would square up and like kind of, you know, square his posture and put on a smile every time he walked into a new room. And that kind of, action is great for your physiology. Your physiology affects your brain, so it makes you happier. You're going to find just that little joy. Another thing you can do is like just take a deep breath as you walk in and like just have an intentional word, something like joy, as simple as that, where you're able to just be more purposeful as you're going through the day. You think about how many times you walk through a door here and there. If you were to smile every time you walk through a door, you would be incorporating, countless more happy little moments of joy into your day just by smiling, if nothing else. And it'll feel funny at first when you do it. And then by the end of the week, it feels a lot more natural. And after 6 weeks or so, why am I happy every time I go into a different room? You've rewired your brain. It's amazing.
I love that. Another tip is to try to take a picture of something that delights you every day. You can do this just you're walking to work and you see a beautiful flower, or, your kid fell asleep and they look beautiful and angelic, or, whatever it is, you organized your closet and that makes you feel super good. Whatever it is, if you take a picture every day, make it a habit to find something that brings you joy, you'll find yourself anticipating and then looking for the thing that's going to be your picture that day of the joy.
Exactly. I love that. Another one is a 111 gratitude. So that is you take one person, one object, and one moment that you're grateful for. It doesn't have to even be in that day, it can be whenever. And you speak it out loud because the more you can, there's a lot of energetic things that happen when we speak things out loud. So when you can go, I'm grateful for Kat. I'm grateful that I have an iPhone that I can go back and forth with her. And I'm grateful for the moment that we're having right now in this podcast that's allowing us to share our message with the world. That's all it takes. And it can be anything that you're experiencing in that moment, or if drawing on something from the past that makes you feel better.
I will throw out one last one, and it's sort of related to my soapbox earlier. Is I just like to encourage people to just try to find a piece of $0 joy, a frugal joy. Make it like a frugal hunt. Find something that you already have that already exists in your current space. Like, oh my gosh, I love this blow dryer I've had for 3 years and it dries my hair so fast, or whatever it is. Or this is my favorite coffee cup. Take the time instead of looking at everything that you could add to your space and find joy in free because you already have it.
I love that. I really, really love that. It's again, there's so many things that take for granted, and to just look at the things that you have and go, wow, I am so grateful I have this. My first thing that came to mind was my couch. So yeah, like it's,
Wow.
it's,
First thing
but
that
again,
pops in. It's a good
well,
couch, Abby.
it's a good, I would have nowhere to sit without it. So, like it's a good couch,
That's
but
funny.
again, just having that gratitude is really, 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 it's really potent. Thank you for that one. I love it.
All right. Well, I think those were some good tips. I mean, I think that's
Yeah.
a lot for our listeners to work with and, take them or leave them or try one and see if it works for you.
Yeah, and when you try these things and they work for you or they don't, always let us know. You can always reach us at hello@5yearyou.com. We respond to every email. We love hearing from you. And I think it's time to move on to our glimmers.
Glimmers are the sparkly,
Glimmers.
happy things. I feel, look, we've been sharing little bits of joy at the end of every single episode for months and months, over a year now. So I didn't even realize that when you said it, but that's what a glimmer is. They're little bits of joy. What's yours today,
Yeah.
Andrew?
Honestly, I'm going to say it's having the glimmers because when you first suggested that this was your idea, and the mindset I was in is not the mindset I'm in right now.
Yeah.
And I was like, why are it was so unnatural for me to have to think up something new every time to feel good about. And now it feels way more natural. So my glimmer is the glimmer if I'm allowed to do
Yeah.
that, which I'm going to say
Sure.
we are because it's our show
It's
and I
your
get
show.
50% of the vote. Yeah.
I think even our podcast producer in the beginning, like, it took him a few months and he's like, "I didn't really get the glimmer thing, and I didn't really, like, think it was a good idea, but now that you've done it for a few months, I really like it." So,
It's a
you
good
weren't the
idea.
only one. I was gonna share my glimmer as self-watering pots for planters because you said one of your little joys was that you had plants and your plants grew, and I was like, one of my little joys is that somehow my plants aren't dead right now, and the reason is because I found these, like, self-watering pots, so instead of having to water every day, I'm actually like, I've been a plant mom for a while now, and there was a time where, like, someone gave me a plant, and then I gave it to someone who was a better plant mom because I'm like, "It's gonna die," but these self-watering pots allow me to travel and visit you, and yes, I've got 3 of them right here. It is past me wouldn't have believed it.
It's amazing. It's a very good thing to feel grateful for. I love it. It's a great glimmer. All
Thank
right,
you.
folks. Well, thank you again for listening. We appreciate you as always. Make sure to like and subscribe and all those cool things. And we will see you next time.
Hey guys, quick disclaimer. We're podcasters on the internet. If you need to seek professional help, please go see your healthcare professional.